Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 610 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Maldo, and joining me on this extra special Wednesday news orbit, I have, unsurprisingly, Chris DeBona.
Hello, and we are not doing Revenge of the Nerds, no matter what the title card just said.
And Rob Roseboom.
Hi, I'm extra special today.
You are extra special.
Mm-hmm.
You're the extra special.
I didn't want to say anything, but you are extra special.
And your beard is so even.
Thanks, man.
Did you trim it recently?
No, it's just this is what happens when you just leave it alone for a long while.
Did you get any of the special beard ointments?
Beard oils
that have been recommended?
You know what? I like you used to think that was nonsense, but a good beard oil every now and again is not bad.
Okay, how often do you beard oil?
Maybe once a week.
And this is like after your shower kind of thing, and just like
I don't think it's appropriate for me to get into my showering activities.
all right. We'll keep some things private
my beard.
Keep some secrets from Amalu.
Above the neck. Above the neck, Maldo. Come on.
Right.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I've got a little bit of eczema that we should discuss. No,
all right.
No, I just think your beard looks really nice today, Rosemary.
I mean, I have other oils, but I'd rather focus on the beard oil.
Right, less essential.
Like ear oil. Is there an ear oil?
Well,
one, So I will. So this might sound like the most Italian thing I've ever said. My grandmother, if your ears were clogged, she would use olive oil and she would pour it into your ear and then let it pull away the wax. So
she's Sicilian.
Like an old home.
Yeah,
that's an old home remedy for gallbladder stones too.
Oh, I've never had a gallbladder stone. Huh?
Just add fat.
Just add fat.
Yeah, because that doesn't disturb things.
Nope.
So I shouldn't have had bacon this morning. All right.
The worst.
The
worst news of the week is Delancey is confirmed that he's going to be in 2 seasons of Picard.
It's like they took a bet. How can we make it even worse? Let's bring in the BronyCon guy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think at this point, they're just fucking with us, right?
Yeah, no, this is about us.
They're like, we have the contract signed. Let's just see what we can do.
Yeah.
It's awful.
My other favorite part about that is that the way that the leaks, I don't know if you'd call them leaks, but the way that this information is getting out is through John Delancey's cameo messages. Like, if you buy a cameo from John Delancey, he says things like, yeah, I just was shooting on Picard today. I'm in 6 episodes. Like, that's what you get, apparently, from Cameo.
Thanks, Cameo.
Yep.
Propping up these horrible people. I was looking at Cameo the other day. There was some really just, actors I consider fine. And honestly, I couldn't believe how cheap they were.
Yeah. For me, sometimes if you go through there, there'll be a couple that make you a little sad, quite frankly.
Yeah.
For me, it's Dave Foley is in there.
For sure.
Yeah.
He's the real deal.
Yeah, for like under $100, I think, too. Just
Tony Hawk, $250. Ice-T, $450.
That seems right. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, Tiger King. You can get Carol Baskin.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
This is just grim.
I think I'm just jealous because my long-standing dream of being a cameo star is just that sun is set.
Well, if
honestly, you're a higher profile than. Let's see now. Oh my God, the sexy sax guy from the Lost Boys is in.
Oh wait, no, I can't compete with that.
Yeah, I think.
I honestly think if you spent a little money on your marketing for your OnlyFans page, you might be able to get enough traffic that you could pull a cameo.
That's true.
Oh, gosh.
All right. Let's see. There's a few of them that are interesting. Let's see. PlayStation. So we found out last week that the Discord deal with Microsoft fell through. And now they're partnering with PlayStation. And so apparently it's going to be fully integrated with the PlayStation, which would be really cool for Discord, I imagine. And also, you know me and standards. I would love it if there was a nice standard here, so I could communicate with my children without leaving my office.
Honestly, the way I communicate with my 14-year-old is through Discord, and they've been writing a bot.
That's awesome.
So it's like, I guess this is what it took. It's kind of great, so.
I would love if I could get my kids to learn how to write a bot. That's a time-honored tradition. Like, that's what you did in 1995.
Yeah.
It hasn't
remember
changed.
Pearl?
I do remember Pearl.
Yeah. I remember Kevin Lenzo and Pearl.
Yeah.
Man ahead of his time.
Kinda. So. I have some Kevin stories. Let's see. Berkshire Hathaway. So this story just cracked me up. I don't know what the trading price is for Berkshire Hathaway.
It was at 421 or something.
421,000 because notoriously Buffett never like pays dividends. Never splits.
Oh, I think he pays dividends, doesn't he?
I don't think he pays dividends because their whole deal is that if you want the money, then you would sell the stock and pay 20% capital gains when you want it. Not like that would be antithetical to sort of his, his John Bogle, view of the market. But their share price got so large that it overflowed some field in the NASDAQ trading platform.
Wow.
Which, first of all, I don't know what number or what system they're using that's overflowing at 429,000. That's a weird.
That's a very odd precision number,
right?
So we have 4 digits to the right of the decimal. We have 6, not even 6. I mean, because it's 400 and some. So it's not like a IBM holdover. I know they used to use Tandem's Nonstop MX for back-end tracking, but they can't possibly be doing that anymore. I couldn't keep up with their trading volume. So this is a weird one. Yep. This is such a weird one. But they say they're going to upgrade it by the end of the month. So long as, Berkshire doesn't go above 429, 496, 72.95.
Or they could just do the thing that they don't want to do, which is just click the button that says split 10x and just be fine. At some point, shouldn't you do? I know they have their B shares too, so it doesn't matter. But that's always a weird thing. The fact that they have that it's like the one stock on the market that's like, oh, you're broken. Something's wrong.
Buffett's gonna die soon. He's pretty old.
It's true,
right? So maybe they're waiting for him to die, then they're gonna do the split. I don't know. The thing is, I agree that it's the price of an individual share of stock isn't the market capitalization of the company, right?
Sure.
So I get why people don't want to split, but sometimes you just gotta.
I mean, at some point, it seems like you should split.
Well, I mean, I think splitting too much or reverse splitting is just cutting a check to New York.
Sure, but we're not talking about splitting because you're from $10 to $5. We're talking about splitting $500,000 into, we're talking about splitting a house into a half a dozen cars.
You're absolutely right. It'd be worth even more, at the end of the split. But
anyway, I owned some Berkshire Hathaway for a little while after I met the man and thought he was very impressive.
He's an impressive guy.
For sure.
I will say, though, he has remarkable PR for owning one of the worst businesses in the country, Rent-A-Center.
Ooh.
It's like owning a check cashing business, but with crappy furniture.
There's a lot of stuff in there that would raise an eyebrow if you looked too hard at it. But there's also a lot of stuff that, that's decent. So
it turns out, though, there's a lot of money to be made for the working poor.
Yeah, right? You ain't kidding.
So.
All right. When have you guys shared the story about the farmer moving the French border?
That was Zed.
That's awesome.
That's a great story.
Yeah, basically this guy has a farm that abuts the border of Belgium and France, and The stone markers that they put in, like 100, I think it was 150 years ago, were just in his way. So he just moved them and continued his plowing of the field. And I can't remember exactly how they found out, but it became an international incident, but a funny one.
Probably had a problem when his neighbors were trying to flatten the lawn of the yard with their tractor
maybe.
for like 4 straight hours while he was trying to have a campfire in peace with his friends.
Yeah, maybe.
That would never happen.
Yeah. Anyway, the French government said they won't start a war if he moves them back. And Belgium said they wouldn't prosecute him if he moved him back in the next week. But no one's talked to the farmer, so who knows if he really will. I think it'd be hilarious. He was just like, no, prosecute him.
Is he Flemish? I mean, that's my question.
Oh. Like, was this a conscious act?
Was this part of like the Belgium, Flanders, Flemish, separatist movement? Maybe
no,
he's
from
saying,
what I read,
yeah.
From what I read, it's just like most things, just people being lazy.
An ornery guy who was sick of plowing around a giant rock.
1819.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
1819. Like America was like 5 years old, 6 years old, whatever. And like this thing's been sitting there being banged into by tractors and plows for the last 100 and some years, 200 years. Think about that.
Good on him.
It's like if this is all that's keeping France within her borders, I think Belgium's in trouble.
Also, I'll point out that I'm not, an expert on farming, but that picture there doesn't really look like it'd make good farmland.
Well, maybe that's the after.
It's that part of Europe,
Maybe that's where he moved the stone to. Like he moved it to an unplowable chunk of field. That's what I would think you would do. Yeah. But
this is an entire people brought up on tubers. Zen, it's the. And they're supposed to eat sumac,
You don't have to tell me about it. My people make land out of the ocean.
Yeah.
And Chris, you have to save your French rage for tonight when we discuss City of the Lost Children.
That's true. Are we gonna get subtitles in English, you think?
We'll have to find out. I was actually thinking we'd spin the dice and just see what comes up. Like we get just random language, random subtitles. Let's see what happens.
I admit I had this is one of those don't meet your childhood hero movies.
We'll talk tonight. You're not wrong.
We'll talk tonight.
Radio signals from Venus. This was you, right, Chris?
Yes. So
I didn't read this. I'm curious.
I haven't read the paper, but basically, so a solar probe, basically, there's a natural radio signal that comes from Venus, from its atmosphere. So, which
and
is
it's playing
cool.
Skinnered.
It's playing Skinnered.
Turn it up, man. Is that Freedom Rock?
As I realized yesterday, no, it's Bonnie Tyler that's being played. So it's Total Eclipse of the Heart, whose original name was Vampires in Love for a Nosferatu musical. I couldn't believe it. I'm still reeling from this fact. So, anyways, but this is Venus, not Bonnie Tyler. So.
All right, that was what you had for Venus. Cool.
Yeah, sorry. That's all I got. And then, yeah.
Did you see the walking your fish? This is you, right, Rob?
Someone's walking.
Yeah.
I did not see
This is extraordinary.
That's fantastic.
So I can't quite tell exactly how real this is. So this is a bag company in Japan, and this might just be a publicity stunt. But I've checked it out all over, and it looks like maybe they really are making the sort of a portable aquarium that you can put your fish in to carry around because, well, it's Japan.
No, my assumption was that the idea here was to be able to bring your fresh fish somewhere to have it cut up and eaten, like fresh. Like I assumed it was a foodie thing, not a pet thing. But
well, what's weird about this is I thought that maybe there'd be like an oxygen supply, like a bubbler.
There is literally nothing on your screen that's not a pop-up ad.
Sorry.
2021 internet is garbage.
It kind of is. No, so I was looking at this and I was like, okay, so this looks like a real fish. I don't know if it's an alive real fish, but it looks like a real fish. You've got like the, the sort of the basic wear and tear on a fish, but like I don't see a bubbler,
Yeah.
Oh no, there's no.
I've got this cap here.
Supply.
You've got this unusual pressure reading, which if I'm reading it right, it's practically at a vacuum above the water level.
You might be shocked.
Which is not going to be good for a fish. So I'm thinking that this is a prototype. There you go. Let's go with prototype.
It's not just fish. Most life does not live in a vacuum very well. So there's that. It's
weird, right? So like, what does this mean? What does this mean, Zen? Give us your fish knowledge.
My fish knowledge leads me to believe that this is all a publicity stunt to drum up sales, to get their company noticed.
It's a Kickstarter.
It's a Kickstarter, isn't it really?
No, but that would be fun too.
Yeah, this is not for food. This is for you to put your fish in and take it for a walk.
Here's another photo. Let me open it. Oh my gosh. It is so hard to here we go. So they have a picture of a fish. Oh, and he's breathing.
Oh, that's moving. Well, now we know it's real. You can't fake an animated fish.
Well, it's the same apparatus and the same pressure reading. So bring your sea monkey to school. But then they go to this. I think Rob's right. I think this is bring your freshest fish. It's like when you bring a wine bottle to a restaurant and you pay a corkage fee.
I got a scaling fee.
A scaling fee. If you bring in your own fish, it's 15,000 yen as opposed to 70,000 yen if you use one of their fish. Yeah, I mean, they're showing it cooked.
That whole thing is pretty common, especially in cities that have pretty big ports. I mean, not carrying a fish inside a tank, but bring them in a bucket. Bringing your own fish to a restaurant.
Really? That's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
This is my really face. I'm not sure that's a real thing. I mean, I've seen people pick out what they're gonna eat.
It's totally a real thing. If you're in a city that has a lot of charter fishing, there's usually a handful of restaurants that you can go to that you can bring your fresh catch and they'll prepare it for you.
Okay.
Just like the wine corking thing you're talking about.
I love it.
That's fantastic.
I think we should figure out a way to make that happen this summer, Rob.
I bet you this guy knows all about that.
We don't live in a city that has a huge charter fishing industry.
Yeah, but we live in between two Great Lakes.
Yeah, I guess.
Alan Moore is back in the news.
Yeah. That weird, cranky warlock. I love this guy.
Wizard.
I mean, he's a wizard.
He needs beard oil. Look at that.
Yeah, he does. His beard does look a little brittle.
Yeah. He could use some beard oil for sure.
He's announced that he's going to produce. Is it a 5-volume fantasy epic? Is it comics or is he just writing?
I think it's novels.
Good for him. I would.
The second acquisition is a fantasy quintet titled Long London, which will launch in 2024. The series will move from the shell-shocked and unraveled London of 1949 to a version of London just beyond our knowledge, encompassing magic, murder, and madness. It promises to be an epic and unforgettable, a tour de force of magic and history.
I was just watching some video on the history of the comic book industry and like all the different, mergers and collapses and stuff that happened. And Alan Moore is one of those characters who shows up throughout those stories because he's famously creator rights, but also a bit loony. And he was like the story that I was reading kind of really made me sad because League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Tom Strong, Prometheus, like all those America's Best comics. There was a bunch of really good stuff in there, and those all got chewed up in the openings and closings of all of those studios in the 90s. So we never, those stories all ended.
Yeah. It's really something.
Made me sad.
And he sort of famously is like, I can't believe they're doing this to my show, my work, those jerks, and it's like,
he is a very big believer in disowning anything that descends from his work.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any compunction. He's like, yeah, it's over. This is crap.
Do you think he's still paid?
Yeah.
So they still have to pay. So he's still
for
getting
something. Probably his early works are probably all tied up in other people's rights and the rest.
Oh, you think that like Watchmen is all going like all his routes through DC?
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, the Watchmen. There's like whole articles on the Watchmen rights and what happened to it over time.
Well, because Gibbons is still involved, right? He's still
Gibbons is still involved.
Man, I guess I'm never clear on the money situation for those sorts of stories. If it's like, is Gibbons paid as a creator, or is he paid because he's a consultant, or is it more like just an honorarium that he is a consultant to begin with? I always wonder about that sort of thing.
It's a thicket. I've asked some of the people in the middle of the Image Comics, McFarlane, DC like fight, because there was a big lawsuit between Neil Gaiman and Todd McFarlane over rights.
What was the character that he created? He created somebody for one of those comic books.
Yeah, and he wanted to retain rights, and he was told he had rights. It's one of those things where it's like, and then, you know, when Spawn came out, the movie, it was like Todd McFarlane Spawn, written by Todd McFarlane, the Todd McFarlane production done by Todd McFarlane. You keep saying Todd McFarlane, or it's all over, buddy. You know, it was like, whoa, there's a lot of Todd McFarlane on this title card, you know. But it was because he was so burned from working for, it was like Marvel or DC, that he was like, you know.
There's a really good documentary. There's a really good documentary on Prime about the comic book, like that whole era of comic books, and like what happened with Image Comics and how those guys got super huge and then imploded on themselves. And he doesn't really come off as the best guy.
Yeah, I think there's a reason for that. But,
the one who really comes off as a problem is Rob Liefeld.
He's a weird guy.
Wait, that's not the right guy. The Deadpool guy. Is that Liefeld? Or we know a Rob Liefeld.
I think that's the same name, different person than the one we know. It's not Wheezy. It's someone else.
It's right? Liefeld. So, we know Rob Liefeld
Liefeld
is a guy we know. Rob Liefeld is the Deadpool creator.
Yeah, well, the thing is, he's also well known for his absurd musculature.
Yeah. You see his Captain America drawing shows up as a meme fairly frequently on Reddit. It's like these bulging pectorals. My favorite bit is that Liefeld can't draw feet. And you can find YouTube videos of just like, look how stupid the feet are that he draws.
Oh, goodness. He can't draw feet. Here, let's show an example. It's like, what the hell is that? It's like a bunch of thumbs?
Well, that's Beast, though, so he's supposed to have hand-like feet.
Yeah, but that's just like a thing that he just...
There you go.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Apparently... for a while, if you watch, I'll try to dig up one of those YouTube clips, but like he would frame the characters to intentionally put things in front of their feet just so he wouldn't have to draw them. Like, oh, you're in front of a box.
Yeah, my thing was, it was the absurd amount of muscles that he would draw. I'm like, there's a point where you dialed it to like 13 and you just need to take it back to 9 there, bud.
Yeah, if you look up Liefeld Captain America chest or something like that, you'll find the classic one, because like it's anatomically weird. But in all fairness, if you look at like old Jack Kirby stuff, like what the hell?
What even is this?
Right. Yeah. That's a great picture. I love the shop
this morning.
I don't know. Like that guy's weird. But I've still read a lot of Deadpool.
Well, that's good times.
All right. So there was a subcommittee hearing recently where somebody left a hot mic, and apparently 22 minutes of the subcommittee hearing had the audio of Galaxy Quest just playing over it. And that's probably a better use of your time.
And then some disco, you know?
We should do Galaxy Quest on movie night sometime.
Yeah, we should. It's a great movie. Yeah, boy. Well, it's funny because like they just go along their day, like, oh, someone's gonna take care of it, it'll be fine. And I'm like,
nobody's gonna take care of it.
Well, according to the story, no one could hear that it was happening.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't one of the subcommittees that the audio was coming from.
Right.
That's really funny.
Something in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had one Zoom bombing happen during the pandemic lockdown, and it was porn.
Of course.
I should boot them off before the camera panned down, let's just say.
See, during our chats, I only have like 2 options. I can add that, or I can add that.
That's it.
That's all I got for bombing.
Buttons. Have you considered more buttons?
All my buttons are for other important tasks.
Okay.
Well, you both know about my swine-related fiasco, so
don't get HR involved.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so funny.
That'll do, pig.
That'll do.
So I think the last one that I had on the list right now, Google has done many great things for us, like, inventing search engines and making sure that targeted ads follow us everywhere that we travel on the internet. But now they are finally addressing the open floor plan for offices with inflatable walls. And I don't care about anything of this story, but the video is the funniest thing. Like, oh, this isn't weird at all.
The best part is here where it goes, like, poking her in the shoulder. As it goes up.
How long is this taking to inflate?
Her screen is blank. It's like, I know there's nothing on the screen. I know you're just like texting your friends, like, I'm very afraid of the inflatable wall to my right.
She's just playing solitaire.
Right.
Yeah, that
like, weird. People can see your screen, right?
It's like Spotify, right? Yeah. Anyway.
I wish that GIF had went a little further. Oh, is it going to keep going? Come on, you can do it. Nope. Every time I watch it on the loop, I'm hoping this is going to be the time that it finally forms the true wall.
But it's translucent?
Okay, so here's the thing.
Isn't that more distracting?
We have a group whose whole job is figuring out, this isn't the original New York Times piece. Oh, there it is. Let me go to the New York Times piece. So we have a group whose job is figuring out the workplace of the future. And one of the things that they came up with, and this was before the COVID thing, were these rooms where basically it would have a circular camera that could focus on the speaker, a 360 camera. And then you would have these people given equal time in the meeting, right? If they're remote or if they're local. So that's all. But yeah, so, and then we have like some camps set up for offsites, and there's Michelle. She's really cool. And then like, we have this new building going in, and one of the things that we want to do is have it so that if you want a wall, you can just order one and it'll appear magically the next day when you get into work. Because we've got piles of them prefabricated in the basement. We just bring them upstairs, put it in place for you. And, we want to encourage our people to create the workplace that they need to be most productive. That's all, But yeah, this article though. And I like this, like the little hot desk prototype where you just scan your badge and poof, it goes to the right size and the right lighting. And that's fun. I like it. So.
Ambaloo wants us to look at the pictures of the Bidens and the Carters. I just assumed they were doing a sequel to The Hobbit. Yeah.
And that's what that picture was.
I tell you, Chris, I did not like working in an open floor plan office. It burned terrible. Every molecule of my body. I hated it so much.
What happened to Roslyn?
I know.
When did she become a small person?
I mean, nice correction there. I mean, they're old. My grandpa used to be a big dude, and before he died, I could have picked him up and carried him around.
Wow, they're really, I mean, yeah, when they're small, when they're older, they get smaller, they shrink, but wow, they really shrank.
Yeah, this was...
Carter was a giant, he was, yeah.
This is some unfortunate camera framing too. Like you could have just like moved the camera over like 3 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter's 5'10".
A tiny man.
That's not really super tiny.
We've had this discussion before.
Average. How tall is Joe Biden? Let's see. 6 feet. He's only 2 inches taller than. Yeah, but he's a lot taller than Roslyn.
Well, and I mean, how old is Carter now? He's gotta be like 90, 92?
Yeah, he's old. Yeah, Roslyn Carter's like 5'5", which is the same height as my wife. So not that small.
But I guarantee you that if you measured her now, she's not 5'5" anymore. Like that's what she was.
I'd imagine she's 5'1".
That's what she was on her driver's license.
And also, can I just say, the pictures behind the Carters, they're not good.
Yeah, their kids drew that for them. Their grandkids.
Yeah. Someone they're proud of drew those pictures.
That's mean. We're being mean to their kids' art, their grandkids' art.
Their grandkids? Yeah, what do you got against their grandkids, Chris?
I guess I'm a monster. So.
You hate grandkids. I don't think that to get back to the inflatable walls. I don't think that I don't think that would fix the problem. I don't know.
Yeah. No. So the inflatable, everyone focuses on the inflatable walls. They're a cute little joke gimmick thing. I mean, the reality is we've got real walls that you can just put into place if that's the kind of thing you need. And roofs.
I think, Chris, the first time that I ever walked into like a real open office floor plan might have been.
It's not for you, Rob.
Well, I think it might have been like when we came and visited you in like 2004, because prior to that, like any office that I had gone to that was big like that was the traditional cube farm where the walls are at least up high enough that you can't. And I just remember like walking through some of those offices and just like you can see every person here is looking at every other person. How do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the blogger team was in basically a set of, I think, 12 desks, all that were really close to each other, and there were walls around that area. But yeah, we had a philosophy for a long time of making sure that program teams didn't get more than about 5 or 7 people, and that they were very close to each other so that they could work together. But it doesn't work for everybody, I mean, I've always had sort of a funny approach to offices. I've had an office at Google for like 12 years of my whatever tenure there. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I want to defend Google's stuff because, it's fun to be creative and it's fun to figure out what's going on. But during these meetings, I'm the one sitting there going, listen, I know everyone loves talking about the wellness areas and the cafeterias and the gyms and all the rest. My people are sitting in front of a screen for 6 to 8 hours coding. How do we optimize for the actual work of my teams? It's like, because like we have these like huge windows and I'm like, I need a way to block that glare.
For sure.
It's like, so it's like, I don't want to hear another word about a cafeteria that I'm going to spend half an hour in. And then 8 hours of the day, I'm sitting in front of a screen, so that's got to work, otherwise the work of the company is not going to get done, so yeah, anyway.
Indeed.
It's fun. I really like being involved though, because otherwise who's going to say that? Who's going to tell them like, listen, for the engineers in the company, we need special spaces sometimes. And it's not that the other people couldn't use them too. But
well,
yeah.
Engineering is one of those things like for an engineer, you have your meetings, you talk about people, and then for the rest of the day, everything in your life is between this and this.
Yeah.
And, I can't write emails. I can't think when I've got people walking behind me and like talking about their dentist appointments. And
yeah, I know that we were talking because we were looking at layouts for floors for the engineering spaces. And I was like, so this hallway here, it looks like people are going to be walking down it a lot. And they're like, well, yeah, it's a hallway. And I'm like, is there a barrier so I don't have to listen to these jerks on the phone? I'm like, we have this great soft seating area. And I'm like, right next to people doing work, that's just going to drive them crazy, so.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I listened to coworkers talking on the phone with their doctor about something that I shouldn't know about.
Yeah.
And like, that made me sad.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, Google was going through its hyper growth when you visited, and we were packed into the gills in those. We only had like 8 buildings. It sounds like a lot.
Only 8 buildings.
We had 8 buildings at the time, and the ones you visited were quite large. They were like the multi-story SGI buildings that we had converted. I think SGI was still in them though when you visited. They were still in the building.
You realize that was like 17 years ago?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw that picture. And
we old. Yeah, that's the picture I was thinking about, because that was that visit. I was like,
I used to tell people that I worked for Slashdot. I don't bother anymore.
No point.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, my life's work is erased.
Well, I mean, no, it's just we're old.
For sure.
You can't expect somebody who was in kindergarten when I was putting up polls on Slashdot to give any craps about it.
For sure.
Why would they?
Dude, don't get me started. My life is a meaningless vortex into which there is no escape. Hey, you know what I watched yesterday that was really awesome, and I want to suggest that you guys both drop everything that you're doing and watch.
The end of Invincible?
I don't know what you're talking about. No, the end of Invincible. We talked about that on last Friday, didn't we? It was fantastic.
I don't think we. Oh yeah,
we did.
We did.
But I wanted to say on Netflix right now, there is a movie, The Mitchells versus the Machines. And
is that good? I saw the trailer for it. It looked great.
You're gonna think Rob especially is gonna roll his eyes and hate me because he's dead inside and doesn't want to feel joy over things. But it is a damn fun movie. It is well done.
Is it just a movie or is it a series?
It's just a movie, but it's
so it's not like it's
not Invincible. Okay. It is a bunch of the creative team behind Into the Spiderverse.
Yeah.
And it is just an extraordinarily good movie. It is straight up funny.
Why do you think that Rosemoon's dead inside? Can we explain that?
Track that down. Because Rob and I, we fundamentally disagree. My inner child burns like 5 levels higher than Rob's. I will find joy in children's movies where Rob will find joy in horror movies, and we don't always overlap on those extremes.
So do you guys overlap on this picture of the Bidens and the Carters? Because it's kind of like they found a race of small elven people, and they're welcoming them into the League of Nations.
Maybe they're Belgians. They moved the rock, and that's what they found.
Maybe.
But Rob, you should defend yourself.
I just think my inner child has standards that are higher than your inner child. That's all.
That's fair.
Yeah. I don't suffer nonsense kid movies, even when I was a kid.
That's all fair. But this movie, it's not. So if I were to make a top 10 movies ever made in history, I would really seriously consider giving Into the Spider-Verse a slot in my top 10 movies of all time.
Oh, I
like it's that good. And I think that this movie is in the same vein.
I don't know if I would say it was one of the best 10 movies ever made, but I certainly enjoy it. It's certainly a good movie.
Well, I think this movie is fan-freaking-tastic. All of the characters are like charming and well developed. The animation is gorgeous. The rendering is gorgeous, and don't read too much about it because the movie takes a turn for the weird, which you'll probably figure out pretty quick. But there's a couple of characters that show up midway through that are really, really funny.
So, did you ever see Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
Yes. 2? Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 1 is better than 2.
But 2 is until Silicon Valley and after Office Space is probably the most biting commentary on Silicon Valley that's ever been filmed.
Yeah. This very much carries that.
Where the hell did this come from?
Well, I was thinking about that too. Because the oeuvre of the Phil Lord and the Chris Miller has a lot of that sort of thing in it. The big corporation and questionable motives and all that. And which is funny because you don't make a full-length feature film animated without millions of dollars of corporate money. But they got a bug in their butt about Apple, as far as I can tell. because there's quite a few of little bits in there.
This is what I appreciate about the Lords. So there were 2 other stories you haven't put up yet.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. The Facebook, they upheld the Trump ban.
Yes, the company appointed oversight board. This oversight board is so funny to me. I'm just like, who cares? You know, like these people have no power over Zuck.
Right.
You know, but
see, I think that should be my job. I should be on the oversight boards for all these companies now, because I should because I don't give a crap. I'll tell you when you're being dumbasses.
Yeah, but they don't listen.
But I'll fucking go and scream on the internet. And all 3 Geeks in Space users will know.
The power!
Yeah, that was I don't understand how anybody thinks that board is supposed to work. They upheld their decision, but, you know, they like... It was a meaningless thing to begin with, but that's okay because now Trump is going to go spin up his own WordPress blog.
Yeah. No. Social media network, Malda.
I mean, they were called WordPress blogs with forums, 20 years ago.
Yeah, he's in it with the My Pillow guy.
Yeah.
They're gonna reinvent social media.
Frank speech, I think they were going to call it, or just Frank. Yeah.
I hope they call it Frank.
You can say whatever you want. You just can't take the Lord's name in vain. There was something else you couldn't say.
Yeah, you couldn't say
2 restrictions.
Right. So it's freedom of speech as long as it's this chunk of the pie chart. We just rotated the pie chart 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and there was another story about Peloton recalling 125,000 treadmills.
There was like lawsuits
more than
and
I
stuff.
thought they had. But yeah, because basically there's no protective thing here, so kids were getting sucked under.
Oh, I see.
1 death.
Well, that's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, 29 injuries and 1 death. It's like, yeah, it's awful. God knows how many pets,
We had a treadmill for a while, and on a couple of occasions we got our cat on it. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But it didn't have like the open back like that. It went into like a contraption, so it was safer.
Yeah.
Oops! Wow, that's quite the stock hit too.
Yeah, Remember, look at your y-axis.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see the y-axis. Never mind. That's insignificant.
Yeah, I mean,
so I have no interest in Peloton, but I'll tell you, I have an elliptical, and I watch episodes of the OC while I'm on my elliptical. So every day,
does your elliptical go through time when people watched the OC?
Chris, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but digital media can be archived and then watched at a later date in a technique known as time shifting. And it's all on HBO Max. So every time I get off the elliptical, I can...
Is this because of Rachel Bilson?
I do love me some Rachel Bilson. No, it's just, if you want a soap opera from that era, it's a charming little show. And I like it because it requires zero paying attention.
Was this on the CW?
Was it? I don't remember what it was on.
It looks so CW.
I think it was Fox.
Really?
Yeah. But it's a charming show. The music is really good. If you've never seen it, the character of Seth Cohen is a high school nerd, and the show is constantly dropping in the second episode. One of the characters, Ryan, has to go visit his brother, and his brother is in jail, and he's going to take some comic books to give his brother to read in jail. And Seth gives him some comic book, and he's like, "No, give me Legion. Legion is better." And throughout the show, the writing staff is sprinkling in like what is actually good comics. Like Seth routinely goes on monologues about The Dark Knight Returns or Frank Miller or stuff like that. Like whoever was writing Seth's character had legit geek chops.
Okay.
And the music is all good. But at the end of every workout, I get to give my wife the update on how Ryan and Marissa are doing.
which is the Misha Barton character.
Yes. The plotline.
She was the one who got all the news back.
Yeah, she got messed up, I guess.
Did she?
I don't remember. There was something that happened with her. Because I think they wrote her out of the show, but I haven't watched the show in 15 years, so I don't really know how it goes. Yeah. But, I like that show. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. In fact, I think what put me back onto it was somebody was talking about the April Fool's Day, the Slashdot, oh my God, ponies thing.
Yeah, sure.
And in one of the stories that I wrote, I was watching the OC while during that. So it's 2006 whenever we did that. And so I made a comment about like Seth and Ryan or something in one of the parody articles that we wrote on April Fool's Day. And I think that's why I was like, I should rewatch that. What a waste of time. Did we have anything else?
I don't think so.
All right then, gents.
9.
9. We have 9 things?
9 things. Well, we'll pick them up with City of the Lost Children tonight.
Yeah.
Fairly well, Chris DeBona.
Thank you for having me.
Auf Wiedersehen, Rob Roseboom.
Later.
This has been episode 610 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malta, and we will see you tonight for City of the Lost Children. Bye.